Hi there everybody, and welcome to another live chat, another live question answer class with me, Martin Twycross. This is a class where you can ask me any questions you have on mediumship, development, related topics. As always, I will do my best to give you practical, down-to-earth advice without any fluff. So welcome to all of those who've joined us in the room, and if you're catching this on the replay, a special warm welcome to you as well. Let me just pop out my chat. If anyone has any questions, you can start loading them in the chat. If you also, if you can let me know if you can hear me okay, that would also be quite valuable as well. Let me just bring up the chat box so I can see it. So since the last live question answer, there's been a couple of new videos on YouTube. I've uploaded How to Develop Mediumship, which I go through big picture, broad brush, how you develop mediumship. I've also uploaded another video called How Long Does It Take to Develop Mediumship, where I look at the different aspects involved. And the simple answer, if you don't watch it, is it takes as long as it takes. But there's a lot more to it than that. And so I do recommend you that you do have a look at that. So welcome to Mark and to Angie. Lovely to see you. So also, those of you who follow me on my channel will know that the recent Better Private Readings course has just come to an end, and my next course is Better Platform Mediumship, and it begins on the 21st of November. Again, 4 classes for £60, where we, over 2-hour classes, we get into it in a great deal of detail. I will give you everything I know about platform mediumship. So if I know it, you can have it. So I know people say how generous the teachings are, but that's just my style and approach. If I know it, I like to give it. So yeah. Check out that course if you're interested. What I have done is I have put a link to that in the pinned comment at the top of the chat box. I will also link to it as well in the comments and description for those who watch it after the event. What else can I tell you? So as well, I do have a Facebook group, Mediumship Teachings with Martin Twycross. So also feel free to join me on that as well. So I see we've got a few questions building up, which is wonderful, and that you can all hear me loud and clear. That is wonderful. So if you want to ask a question, the key thing is you actually have to be logged into a Google account when you're watching this on YouTube, and that way it enables you to ask questions. I know some people said I came to your live stream, couldn't ask a question, didn't know why, and that's the reason. You have to be logged into your account to ask a question. And if you do ask a question, your name, of course, will appear on the screen, and I can't prevent that. That is just the way it works. So welcome to Julia, Dave, Harold, Franny, Veronica. So yeah, so with this class, I offer this class for free. I offer it to support my courses, my study program, the videos I put out there. Rather than people asking me lots and lots of questions individually, I just rather pull them all together in this scenario. Also, if you would like to support me in doing this class this evening, you can do a donation via Super Chat. The Super Chat is enabled. That is a little dollar box on the bottom that you can click on and you can make a Super Chat. And also you can do a PayPal Me donation, and the PayPal Me link is at the top of the chat box alongside the link to my latest course. If you'd like to do that, you're more than welcome as well. Any donations, I would say, are always appreciated. If you want to buy me a coffee, that is wonderful too. So what else do I need to tell you? So yeah, the way it works is I work down the list, the way the questions are asked, and I work through them one by one. If you'd like to get your question answered sooner, there's a way of doing that, and that is simply to ask it through a super chat or to make a super chat donation and point me at your question, and then I will get onto it quicker. So I answer them in order that they appear, and then I move into super chat if anything comes in through super chat, and that gets priority. That's just the way it works as well. So that encourages anybody who's short on time, you can do a super chat. Wonderful. Now, I do have one question that carried over from a previous class that I missed. Someone actually pointed out to me that I missed it. So I said I would do it at the very beginning of this class, and then we'll get on to your questions. So the question is, what is the difference between spirit-led traveling clairvoyance during a link and intentional psychic remote viewing? Are the two methods the same other than spirit's involvement? And why does it happen sometimes but not all the time? Quite a big question. So let me break it up. So first of all, spirit-led traveling clairvoyance. It's not a term we have in the UK, I'm afraid. In the UK, we call it remote viewing, but we're doing remote viewing during mediumship as opposed to remote viewing when we're working psychically. When we're working psychically, we can explore the sitter's energy and we can explore their home. We can explore where they live through their energy field. That is psychic remote viewing. But when we're doing mediumship, spirit will sometimes give us a glimpse of something about them, maybe a collection of that they loved in their house. And if you like, you can say, okay, spirit, show me your house. And what happens then is we're seeking to try and do the same thing, but we're waiting for spirit to feed that information to us. Is the information absolutely 100% perfect? No, it's not. Sometimes they will, if you like, they will take me, if they've got a piano in a room, they'll show me in my mind a piano. Is it the exact piano they've got? No, they've just got to get into my mind a piano. So what my mind perceives as random piano appears, whether it's a grand piano, upright piano, doesn't matter. They've got into my mind that there's a piano there. If I say, show me the piano in more detail, then yes, they may then show me what kind it is and the make it is, and yes. But what we are reliant upon when we're doing it during mediumship is the information coming from the spirit world. That's the important part. When we're doing it psychically, we are pushing into the energy field of the sitter and the information comes back. We are pushing in and it comes back. But when we're doing it through mediumship, we're not able to push psychically into the energy of spirit. So we're asking spirit to give that information. And they will do so if they wish. If they don't wish, they won't. And not every medium can do it. It happens sometimes, but not others. Generally, it happens when we go looking for it as well. So if somebody showed me they're a great collector and I know their house is full of collections, it's like, right, let's show me your collections. Take me over here. What have you got? Oh, you've got lots of porcelain dolls. Okay, that's lovely. Any other collections? And take me over here. What else have we got? Oh, we've got a whole collection of commemorative spoons. Okay, that's interesting. So, and that's the way it works. It's like, I'm asking them to show me. If they show me, great. If they don't, I'm not giving the evidence. Clearly, I'm not going to go there. So hopefully that explains that question. Okay, let's move on. So someone's asked a super chat. Dave, thank you very much for your super chat. Just saying thank you. You've been an amazing bridge for me to believe in my ability to help others through mediumship. That's really kind, Dave. Much appreciated. And I hope that the teachings that I offer both on the YouTube channel, through my courses, study program, videos, that they help as many people as possible through this class as well. You know, it's whilst we may only have a certain number of people in the class while it's live, I know that generally it hits 600-700 views afterwards. And again, that's really quite wonderful. So if you're watching this on the replay, I really do appreciate it. I should say as well, if you can like my videos, that is fabulous. If you're watching this now, hit the like button. It really helps. When you hit a like button or you comment upon a video, the YouTube algorithm takes notice of it and it helps to promote the videos to more people. So if you can like and comment in all my videos, that is wonderful too. That really helps me in the channel, and that helps people that helps the teachings get far and wide. Okay, let me go from the top. So, Harold, do you sense spirit when you're not working? And I'm a firm believer in discipline. We're either on or we're off. I teach people very strong discipline because you don't want to be being bothered in your life by spirit. So for me, it's like a switch. You're either on or you're off. When I'm on, I'm aware of spirit. When I'm off, I'm completely normal. I'm not aware of spirit. Very, very occasionally, then something may happen. I become aware of them a little bit. It's like, okay, but generally, no. The simple answer is no. But that's through discipline. What we have is what we call the leaky tap syndrome. The leaky tap syndrome happens in our development when early on in our development, we're so excited by our psychic abilities and mediumistic abilities that we're forever looking for information. Oh, is spirit around me? Oh, what's happening? What's going on? What the energy's doing? And what that means is you start bringing stuff through at all times of the day, and it burns down your power. It doesn't help you become a good medium. A good medium, strict discipline, you're either on or you're off. And when you're off, don't do it. So I do have a number of videos. I go through protection, the need to close down, the need for grounding. And in the grounding one, I particularly talk about this in more detail. And there's one on rituals as well. There's a series of 4 of them. And I talk about these kind of things. And for me, do I need to ground? Yes, I've got to go back to normal when I'm not working with spirit. And that's what I mean by grounding. I don't mean earthing myself. I don't mean anchoring myself to the ground with stakes. I don't mean pretending to be a tree. I just mean I'm either working with the spirit world and I've moved my mind to the altered state, or I'm not working with the spirit world and I've moved my mind back to its normal state. And then I'm grounded. Don't be in between. Don't be floating somewhere in between. And there's a lot of people who do float somewhere in between. Okay, next question. Let's keep going. Franny. My question is it true that after we pass our, I think, etheric bodies, stay in the spirit world, much like our world here, and we get to travel wherever we wish? So what happens when you pass? Now, I haven't passed yet. Understand that. My information comes purely from my own mediumship, and my information comes from the teachings that I've read from guides and helpers of other mediums, and also the teachings that have come through my own guides. So that's where I get my information from. The most wonderful description of life in the spirit world was in an article by Maurice Barbanel, heavily influenced, I'm sure, by his guide Silver Birch. It is on my website as an article if you want to check it out, called Life in the Spirit World. That is the best description of life in the spirit world that I've ever read. When you pass, you lose the physical shell. When you pass, the physical body is left behind. What you are left with is your mind, your consciousness, your thoughts, your experiences, all of that. So you continue on, to all intents and purposes, the same person you were here. Your mind reconstructs a body for you to operate with within the spirit world. Whether we call that the etheric body or not doesn't matter really. All you need to know is you function within a body created by your mind, just as in this world, when you dream, you operate in a body. Even though when you're dreaming, clearly it's not real. When you're dreaming, it's a body created by your mind. And that's that glimpse that we get of how our mind can do that. When we're in the spirit world, there is no physical distance. Some people say there is no time, but I disagree. What I would say is time is flexible. Time can be speeded up or slowed down. What I would say is that there is sequential experiences. All experiences don't coexist. Our past does not coexist with our present, coexist with our future. We're on a path of spiritual unfoldment, and that takes place sequentially. We have to have experiences which help us learn, which help us grow, and then we move through that. Whether that takes place within a kind of time-bound world like the earth, I don't think it does in quite such, if you like, fixed time. But I believe it's a sequential unfoldment within a spirit time, if you would like. So in the spirit world, you are in a body because it's created by your mind. You exist, and everything you enjoy doing here, you can do there. So, and if you didn't get the chance to travel here, you can draw close to the earth and see. Or you can see the spirit equivalent of the Eiffel Tower, or the spirit equivalent of the Grand Canyon, or the spirit equivalent of going on safari. Whatever you may not have been able to achieve in this life is possible in spirit. So I hope that helps. If you were interested in life in spirit, I did do a series of videos for helping parents heal. And they're on my channel as Children in Spirit. As a Children in Spirit 1 and Life in Spirit, which I talk about this in a lot more detail. Children in Spirit 2, are they close to us? And that really is all spirit. Is spirit around us? Can they sense what we're thinking? All of that. And then I get into Children in Spirit, which is more specific, complex questions. Things about when does a soul join the fetus? What is reincarnation of children possible? All of that. So they are all in the Children in Spirit series if you're interested. So go check them out if you would like. Okay, let's see where else. So, Sav, what type of classes do you hold? So, let me quickly walk you through what I offer. So, my next course that is coming up is that one, Better Platform Mediumship online course. I run usually one class per month as part of a course. So, these are 4 class courses, take place over 4 months. So the next one is Better Platform Mediumship. The courses I've already run, which are still available to purchase. You've got Great Mediums of the Past. the confident medium, you've got spiritual self-development, you've got meditation and sitting for spirit. Now that one is all of them are 4 classes apart from great mediums, which is 6. The spiritual self-development is 4 classes plus 4 meditations, including the classic sitting in the power, an alternate version of sitting in the power that I did, a meditation to meet your guides, and also a meditation for spiritual unfoldment. And all these courses cost £60, which is very good value. They may be going up next year is a little heads up. So if you're interested, it may be wise to buy them before next year. But then we have meditation, sitting for spirit, fundamentals of mediumship, getting better evidence, better private readings, and then the current one becomes better platform mediumship. So if you're coming to mediumship, you could really start probably with spiritual self-development or meditation and sitting for spirit. That would be the starting point. Next one would be fundamentals of mediumship. Next one would be getting better evidence. Next one would be better private readings. And then obviously better platform mediumship follows from that. And that takes you through, if you like, the process of mediumship. I do offer a study program as well, comprising 4 modules. It's my flagship study program. Each module is 5 classes and then 5 supporting tutorials where I typically answer about 30 questions on that class. And each class runs for over 2 hours. So I think each module is about 30 hours of teaching. Now, the first module is called Foundations of Mediumship. Second module is the Mechanics of Mediumship. Third module is Working with Mediumship. And the fourth module is a special module on Healing, Inspiration and Trance. So that is the mechanism. So if you're interested in that, by all means do check it out. If you would like to do certification, the study program is the only course I offer where I offer certification. To do certification, you actually have to keep class notes and submit them at the end for me to check it out. So highly recommend that. If you're interested in healing, inspiration and trance, then definitely that special module is really worth checking out. So what else do we offer? Let me just also, the study program is based upon my videos, and I've got 24 videos that I developed first. So that if you just want to get information on a specific topic, check out those videos. There's a list on the screen there, ranging from classes 1 to 12, which take you through mediumship. Number 12 in particular touches upon prayer and the address. And then I have a whole bunch of special topics which were add-ons to the originals. And they cover a wide range of topics: color, psychometry, emotions in mediumship, trance and trance healing, spiritual healing, psychic and spiritual development. There's a whole raft there. Now, if you were to buy something like, say, the spiritual self-development course, you wouldn't need the spiritual development class from there, because the other one goes in more detail. So anyway, that's what I offer. Hopefully that gives you a reasonable walkthrough as to what I offer. And I can see as well, Bobby, that you've just done a $5 super chat donation. That is very gratefully received. Thank you very much. And do you have a question to go with that? I'm just trying to see if there's a question. Thank you for all you share. My pleasure. I'm glad that people get so much benefit from it. Okay. Let's move on to the next question then. Julia, I've managed to give someone an evidential message even just once, but haven't been able to do it again. If I keep developing, do you think I'll be able to do it again? It's very frustrating. Yes, I do. You need to learn the foundations. You need to learn the basics of doing it. You need to learn the theory. You need to learn how to do it. I used to go to circles, classes, courses. People say, make a link. And I'd go, how? How do I make a link? And they'd say, just do it. And I called that the Nike approach. You just do it, because that's Nike's strapline, obviously. But I'm like, no, you need to explain to me the mechanism through which mediumship works for me to make a link. And I found a lot of people didn't do that. And that's why I developed primarily all my teachings, really, that I've just talked about, because that is to help share the theoretical basis and foundation. So you need to know how to do it. You need to know that mediumship's an altered state. You need to know that you've got to get excited. You need to know you've got to move your mind. So I have a video on YouTube called How to Practice Mediumship, 10 Tips How to Practice Mediumship. Check that out, because I go through all of that in that video. That tells you how to practice. You've got to have a sitter in front of you. You can't do mediumship by yourself. It ain't going to work, because you've got to have someone in real time in front of you or online who can tell you that what you're getting is correct or not. So you can't just go into meditation and do mediumship, just not possible. So also, we need to build power. No power equals no mediumship. If you've not built any power, don't be surprised that it's very hit and miss. So building power is key. That's all about the practice of sitting for spirit, sitting in the power. As I said, I have a course called Meditation and Sitting for Spirit where we go into that in a great deal of detail. So yeah, again, that is key. If you don't know these things, it's going to be hard. If you do know these things, then you just need to keep working with it. And it's like any skill that we develop, it takes time, which takes me on to my latest video. How long does it take to develop mediumship? A long time for most people. It's years. It's not an instant. People say, can I go on a course and at the end of the week I'm going to be a medium? Oh, I've got to learn mediumship. I come to your course for a week. Will I learn it? And the answer is no, not at all. You know, maybe you might be able to make competent links at the end of 6 months or a year. Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to see. It unfolds at the pace it unfolds within you. Stay with it, stick with it, but don't lose heart if it's not working as well as you'd like. That's what I would say. So check out the video I mentioned if you're interested. There's my teachings as well, if they would help. Jolie, in the beginning I was noticing apparitions hard to turn off. What happens in the very early stages of our mediumship is, if you like, we've got these abilities and they are not controlled nor harnessed. And what happens is they sort of like fire and function at random, and it can scare us, it can bother us, and generally we overlay a fear on what's happening. Generally there's nothing fearful that is happening, but we, in our lack of knowledge and understanding, we kind of overlay our own fears upon it. So that's important to recognize. But once we start learning to develop and doing it in a systematic, methodical way, generally all the random stuff just falls away. So when people come to me and tell me that this is happening or that's happening, I generally say, well, you've obviously got some degree of potential. My recommendation would be to start developing formally with your mediumship, start going to circles, start going to classes, start working with it. And once we start working with it, it will settle down. But remember, you have to have discipline. Set strict discipline with those you work with your guides. And we don't want to be disturbed at night. I would say to spirit, you can, if you ever want materialized for me, you can do it. Just make sure it's in daylight hours. Just don't do it in the middle of the night don't scare the bejesus out of me. We don't want that. We want it to be done at a sensible hour when I'm expecting you. That's the point. So yes, these sort of things happen. Yeah. Good. Veronica, I need to take a class on how to shut off and turn on by choice. This here is the tool, the mind. You just got to be strict. You're either on or you're off. When we're off, we tell spirit no. When we receive impressions, when we're off, we don't even engage. We don't. The best tool you've got for training your mind is tools like Sitting in the Power, which teach the absolute discipline of the mind. I have the whole Sitting in the Power series I've developed. Sitting in the Powers 1, 2, 3, 4, why you do it, how to do it, common issues you encounter for beginners, common issues you encounter once you start working with it more often. And I also have a short Sitting in the Power meditation, which takes you through it all. Check out my Sitting in the Power playlist, because Sitting in the Power is the tool for disciplining the mind. Absolutely. Check out as well, do mediums need to ground, and also the importance of grounding, and the mediums need protection, and also closing down, because I kind of cover it all in there. But definitely a lot of it as well is, remember that you're subconsciously looking for, in a lot of instances, when we learn mediumship, we get so excited. Subconsciously we're excited to go and put these tools, techniques and skills into practice. We just got to learn to balance it out and say no, in control. So hopefully that will help you. Sav, what about if you help find missing and murdered people, which I do, and feel I have to be more open than closed off, which has also helped to keep me safe in certain situations? Any tips would be great. Now, I've been waiting for a question on missing persons and cases, what I call psychic detection, for a while. You've asked it. Wonderful. I can talk about it. Because, and this is not going to be popular, nobody should be doing missing persons cases psychic detection unless they're incredibly skilled. Number one, that is absolutely critical. And I'll tell you for why. Because we receive impressions and we think that they're accurate, but they're not. Now, what I did since my beginning in development, when I received impressions about cases, I wrote them all down in a book. And then when later on, 3 years later, when actually what happens comes out in the open, I can then check to see how much of what I've given is vaguely accurate. Because you should not go online. If you get something, you should never post it online, never post it in the public domain. That is, for me, it's almost a form of abuse. Because if you've not been asked by the family to help in a missing person's case, if you've not been approached to help, you should not volunteer information into the public domain. I've seen many mediums who say, oh, this case, this well-known case, she's dead. Sorry, she's dead. Now that, if you imagine if you're the parents of a child that's lost or missing, and you've got all these well-known celebrity mediums telling you your child is dead, how helpful is that to you? That takes away hope. It creates pain. It creates suffering. Technically, it's abuse. Important to understand that. That really is important to understand. Very, very well-known celebrity mediums have definitely got it wrong majorly. Sylvia Brown, Doris Stokes, to name just two who've got it wrong massively. And if you say to somebody your loved one is here and they're in the spirit world, not good. If you tell somebody your loved one's in the spirit world and they're here, definitely not good. So we should not do it. Now, I know mediums who work helping people on missing persons cases, helping the police on missing persons cases. And what I know about them is they do never, ever advertise it. They don't ever post in public because their reputation with the police is important. They are not going to be just arbitrarily throwing things out. No, not at all. Their reputation is so, so, so important. I also have a friend who is a policeman, and he told me, if you came to me with information about a missing person case, he's a detective, and he said, if you come to me with information about a missing person case, and that information is not public domain information and you're very accurate, we would arrest you as a suspect because you know too much. You'd be arrested until you can prove you've got nothing to do with it. So remember that. So you've got to be very careful. You have to build that reputation with the authorities. So that's important to recognize. The point I come on to as well, that I maintained this book of everything I got about cases. And you know what? 90% of what I got is rubbish. Now, I'm a good medium. I say that. Only my work will tell you if I'm a good medium, but most of you are here because you know me as a medium. And if a good medium like me can be 90% inaccurate, I believe that most people can also be the same. I believe psychic detection is a very rare gift that some people have. But before you ever take it into the public domain, you must test it. Test it to a great degree. And only once you know the accuracy of your psychic detection should we go public with it. Does that all make sense to you? Does everyone understand what I'm saying? And I get very passionate about this because it's so interesting and so valuable. Some mediums, famous mediums, the famous medium Estelle Roberts, she could not work on psychic detection cases because of the energy and because it affected her so badly. So you've got to have a great deal of strength in your work. You've got to be very firm in understanding of your own abilities as well. Because if the world's greatest medium, who was Estelle Roberts, fabulous mental medium, evidential medium, fabulous physical medium, fabulous trance medium, it was said she had all the gifts. And she was amazing. She was our finest medium of the last 100 years. Gordon Higginson always said she was the perfect medium, and he tried to come close, and in some ways he managed it, but he still held her up as higher esteem as being the best medium. Now, if she found it hard to work on psychic detection cases because of the trauma involved, because of the details involved, because of how badly it made her feel, again, it speaks volumes for a lot of us. That it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Understand that. When I see these people on Facebook groups, here's a psychic detection case, let's all missing persons case, let's all throw all our input in on it. Most of it is wrong and most of it is not right, and it's not the way to do it. Do not do it in the public domain like that. Can anyone teach you to do psychic detection? Not easily. No, I don't believe they can. And the way the great mediums of old worked was they were approached by the family, they were given an article belonging to that person, and they also, with the family person in front of you, you can tune in to see, are you connecting in the spirit world? But even when you connect, it can be a thought form. It can be a desire of your own mind to link with them. And you're not really linking with them, you're reading the sitters psychically, and it disguises itself as a mediumistic link, and it's not. So there are so many pitfalls within it. If it's meant to be, it will be. But it's not a party trick. Absolutely not. So anyway, I'll get off my high horse now. You don't have to be open all the time to receive information. Think about it. Spirit people, someone who's been murdered is not going to necessarily come to me at all hours of the day. It's not going to work very well. I'm not on. They're going to come to me if I open up to it. If I deliberately get asked to work on it or approached to work on it, and I choose that that's something I would like to do, then when you ask them to, they're going to come. If 1,000 mediums worldwide are thinking about this person, are they going to try and link with all these mediums when there's no real route of getting the information to their loved one? No, it doesn't make sense. They're going to work with the ones that are doing it well, who have connections with the authorities, who have built a reputation. They're the ones they're going to work with. Absolutely. So there you go. So I don't give tips on psychic detection. I'll get off my high horse now, but I am passionate about that one, so it's important to recognize. So Anastasia, my cousin wanted me to ask why some people won't come through. Is it because the living person is somehow blocking it or not open enough? What might be some reasons? I have a wonderful YouTube video on that called, I think it's called Why Don't Some Spirits Come Through? I will link it when what I can do is I will link it tomorrow when I update the video. It doesn't allow me to edit it for a while. It's usually about 12 or 15 hours, and then when it does, I then update the links in the comments and descriptions with videos. But I have a video on why spirit don't come through, and nobody can block it, not at all. It doesn't matter whether you're open to it or not. Completely and utterly irrelevant. Nothing to do with it. What is to do with it is their state of mind. What is to do with it is whether they wish to come through. What is to do with it is whether they have a desire to come through, whether they're available to come through, whether the medium is a good fit for them. Remember that I teach the radio analogy. Spirits have their own unique wavelengths. As mediums, we cover a band of wavelengths. No medium can cover everybody. So a good medium will have a broad range, a more inexperienced medium, a narrower range. If someone's outside of your range, you can't link to them. If someone's right on the edge of your range, it's like a badly tuned in radio. It doesn't work well. But also, if people have very strong religious beliefs where they believe communication through a medium was wrong, they may not do it. So there's a whole raft of reasons why, and there's a video on that. So you can listen to me talk about it for a good 10 minutes or more and go through all the different scenarios. I've just kind of highlighted a few of them for you there. But basically, sometimes spirit takes a year to come through. It also takes time for them to adjust when they reach the spirit world. And if somebody passes with dementia or passed through a tragic accident, they may need some degree of time to come to terms with where they are, some degree of time for healing. While time in the spirit world is not the same as time here, it can manifest in that way, in that it takes some time. So it's important to recognize. But yeah, check out the video. Mark, my question is, I've been mainly taught in passive states. When I try and connect actively, I don't get anything. Now, active and passive states. Some of you may not understand this, so I'm just going to quickly do a little diagram for you. Some of you who know me, my classes, will recognize it. Others may not. So I'm just going to quickly just draw this as quick as I can, and hopefully it will help explain. I should really have this one. This is the most commonly drawn diagram. Maybe I need to draw it permanently and have it printed out. There you go. That would be good, wouldn't it? There's an answer for me there. Okay, so there's a diagram here. Now there, in the middle, that middle line is your normal state. Then above that line, you've got active states. I've not written that on, but we can write that on just to help you. I need to make use of these pens here that I've got. Keeps me out of mischief, doesn't it, eh? So here we go again. So we got active in green at the top, passive in red at the bottom. Middle state is your normal state. Active states is a psychic state where we're pushing into somebody's energy and receiving information. We're pushing into their energy to get information. Then we have the most active state of all, the very top, mediumship. When we're doing mediumship, we get really excited, energized, have to push to the spirit world, make that connection and receive information. In the passive states, meditation is a passive state generally. Healing is a passive state. Trance is a passive state. Most inspirational work takes place in a passive state. In the passive state, we are not getting energized or active. We are generally quieting our energy and allowing spirit to blend with us. When I do healing, I make a connection with the spirit world. I put my hands on the patient and I just let healing energy flow. When I do trance, I just sit and take myself to the state spirit need me and let them blend with me and speak through me. It's the most passive state of all. When I'm doing meditation, again, when I'm sitting in the power, it's a very passive state. This is why you should not meditate directly before you work, because it makes your energy more and more passive. And then you've got to go higher to reach spirit. You've got a bigger gap to cross, if you like. So if you've done a lot of healing work, you can't come at mediumship from a healing passive energy. It's not going to work. If you've done a lot of trance work, again, when I see trance mediums or healers try and do mediumship, they think it's the same. They think they've got to blend with the spirit world passively and information will flow from the spirit world to them. The answer is no. You have to, spirit can't come to us. With healing, the healing guides move close to us. With trance, spirit moves close to us. But when we're doing mediumship, we've got to go to the spirit world. You can't expect people's loved ones to learn to lower their energy and blend with your mind for a one deal link. It's not going to happen. You've got to go and connect to them. You've got to make the effort to get to their level and then blend with them there. So we've got to get excited, energized, empowered. And we need power. Power is what will make you go there. No power, it's not going to happen. So you've got to develop that power. So if you've not developed power, absolutely, you have to do it. It's important. So power is the key. Getting energized and excited is the key. Most mediums, when you see them work on a platform, it's like a hyper energized version of themselves. If they're off the platform, they may talk like this quite slowly, but on the platform, they get really excited, energized, and whoa, we're on it. And that's how it is. It's like a hyperactive version of yourself. And that's what mediumship's like. It's a fizzy, bubbly energy. So the more we can do to take ourselves into that energy, the easier it's going to be. Again, check out my how to practice mediumship video where I talk about the need for that energized state. Without it, you'll struggle. So if you don't move and connect to the spirit world, and I do teach within the fundamentals of mediumship how to connect. I have a mediumship class 3 teaching video, connection to spirit. Important to understand this, because if you don't connect to spirit well, it's not going to work. This is what I was saying. Now, I used to ask tutors, how am I supposed to connect? How do I connect? And a lot of them couldn't tell me. And when I learned all the different methodologies of connecting, what I learned was we have to find out for ourselves how the connection works. And then we've got to fine tune it for ourselves. We've got to do the work. No one can make me a medium. Someone can give me a whole raft of different techniques that I can work with and find out what works for me and then fine tune to meet me as a medium. That's what we need. So I never teach it's this way. Make a link this way. No, you've got to work out for yourself. Is affirmations helping? Is visualizations helping? Is your breathing helping? Generally, the breathing's powerful. The breathing helps. Affirmations can help. Just the feeling of being energized and empowered. All of that will help you. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. But certainly the fundamentals of mediumship course will take you through that. Or mediumship classes 1 to 6 are certainly mediumship class 2 and 3 is where you really get into that in detail. Second part, the question, should I be seeking the link, or like you say, just about the visual is something I need to set the intent and just allow it to unfold naturally and not force it? No. When you're doing mediumship, you're actively seeking the link. First thing you do, we blend with the spirit. Next thing we do, we ask for a communicator to link with us who belongs to the recipient. Remember, you can't do it without a person in front of you. A recipient, work with one when you're first starting. Do not try and do it in front of an audience or a group. It will be harder. Work with one person. You ask for the loved ones of that one person to come and blend with you. And then we're seeking to blend with them and then receive information from them. And we've got to probe and look for that information with our minds. We can't just sit there and I'm Zen. Come on, bring me all the information, spirit. Not going to happen. You get nothing. You get nothing. And that's what I see. So many healers I see, they just don't know how to do it. Some people teach some people teach and did teach me, you cannot do mental mediumship at the same time as you're developing healing. Rubbish is the answer. Of course you can. You just got to recognize they are totally different methodologies. You got to understand the mechanics of each is different. And in understanding the mechanics of each is different, you can do it all in parallel. Absolutely. I developed healing at the same time as I developed evidential mediumship. No problem at all. Just understand they're completely different mechanisms. So hopefully that will help you. Yeah. So yes, we are working with intent, but I intend to connect. I intend to connect with a loved one. I invite a loved one. Then I intend to get evidence and I go looking for evidence. I intend to check my evidence As I say, how to practice mediumship video. It's all in there. Okay, Tyrone. I found the energy of women to normally come through first, but the men that step forward afterwards feel a lot stronger. Should there be a difference? Well, for me, it doesn't make a difference who comes first. Generally, in my experience, I get men equally as much as I get women. It doesn't matter. And I don't understand why the logic would be that you get one more than another unless you're not as comfortable with getting through one gender. For me, generally, I'm happy to have anybody. Man, woman, dog, cat, anybody. As long as they come and we can get information about them, that's wonderful. Now, do you feel a difference between the male and the female energy? Of course you do. But having said that, some women can come with a male energy, some men can come with a feminine, gentle energy. So the energy alone is not enough to give you gender. You've got to work with a whole lot more to get gender. I generally like to see the person. I like to see what they're wearing. I like to, but generally as well, we can feel, if we know the relationship, if it's a mother, it's going to be a lady, obviously. If it's grandmother, it's a lady. If it's grandfather or father or brother, it's a man. So yeah, there's all sorts of things we go off. Absolutely. So yes, there should be a difference. But one thing you can do is, if you're always getting the women, ask for men. Just ask. Ask and you will receive. It should work for you, I hope. So Anne, your question is, how much is £60 in US dollars? I've not checked the exchange rate for some time, so I cannot give you any real significant price at the moment. If anyone can check the exchange rate while we're on, they can type it in the box. But I'm assuming it's going to be at least $72, maybe a little bit more. £60. The problem is the exchange rate goes all over the place. But yeah, you can check it out. Type £60 into a converter and then understand that generally if you're paying through something like PayPal, the exchange rate is stacked in their favor, so you'll pay a little bit extra. But generally, I'm assuming maybe if it's 1.2 at the moment, it'd be about 72, but it could be more than that as well. So if you're in Canada, how can you sign up for the Platform Medium class? I do Platform already, but always open to learning new different ways of doing it. So basically, you go to my website or click on the link in the pinned comment at the top, and I will also put a link to it in the comments and description of this video as well. Just go click on it and you can buy it and check out through normal, pay with whatever you wish, MasterCard, Visa, Amex, PayPal. And the classes themselves, they are not practice classes. So in those 4 2-hour classes, I'm going to take you through the theory of all about what is platform mediumship, how you do platform mediumship, how we work to find our recipient, finding direction, how we learn direction, how we present platform mediumship, how we, what are good, bad practices. So all of that, the responsibilities and ethics of it, how to manage all the problems that you'll encounter when you're working as a platform medium, all the different styles, types of problems you'll commonly meet, and generally how you fix them. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But as I say, there's, if you go on my website, and the latest products are under online classes, Better Platform Mediumship is there, and you can read what it covers. It covers quite a lot, and I'll add a lot more as well. What I normally do is I ask everybody who's in the course what they want to get from it. I consolidate all that information and feedback to make sure that the classes as well are meeting your aims. That's the intent. So hopefully you'll find that beneficial. If you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome. And how can you reach out to me personally? On my website, on my store, there's contact pages, so you can just send me a message. Jolie, I feel like I'm buzzed when I'm connected with spirit. It's as if they are excited, I'm connecting with them. Could this just be me and my aura expanding, or not the spirit necessarily? Spirit are often excited. You know, if I'm working and someone comes through for the first time, I feel their excitement. It's like, whoa, you've got me connected to my loved one. This is fabulous. This is amazing. Of course, we feel their excitement. But remember that you're doing something miraculous. I always say it's a miracle, mediumship. We get very blasé about it. When you do mediumship regular, oh, I'm doing a sit-in today. Oh, I'm going to do a service centre tonight and do a platform demonstration. We get very blasé about it, not realising that we are joining two worlds that for most people believe are completely separate. And a lot of people don't even believe in an afterlife. So what we're doing is miraculous. And of course, that excites me. That energizes me when I'm working. That's exciting. It really is exciting to be linking with the unseen world and allowing them to connect to their loved ones. How powerful, how amazing, how fabulous is that? It really is fabulous. Absolutely. So you've got your own excitement, and often the nerves we get, I often say that's the excitement of your own soul as well, because we often feel a bit nervous doing it, and that's the energy as well. The energy, the vibrant, buzzy, is an exciting energy. That's how it feels. So that's part of it as well. So it could be coming from spirit. It could just be how the energy of it affects you, and it could just be your excitement as well. So you've got all of that in the mixed. Okay. So hopefully that helps. Kimberly, I'd like to know who your favorite pioneer is. I have 5 favorite pioneers, and it's very hard to pick one. So my Great Mediums of the Past course, which is one of the pre-recorded courses available, the very first one I did of this series, with that one, I actually decided to honor the 5 mediums who most inspire me. So I wanted to honor the 5 mediums whose mediumship really uplifts, inspires me. So the first one was Gordon Higginson, who many of you will know. I've built a tribute site to Gordon Higginson. I run the Gordon Higginson tribute page on Facebook, and I also have a Gordon Higginson YouTube channel where all the video footage I've come across I put on there as well. So the first one to honor, of course, was Gordon, because I've spent so much time trying to collect recordings and working with that and try and keep his memory alive with the website. And the website has something like 60 articles on about him, and all the video footage we know that exists of Gordon is on there. So yeah, so there's so much collected there. Gordon was the obvious one. I also wanted to honor Estelle Roberts and Helen Hughes, 2 fabulous mediums. Also Harry Edwards, our finest healer, and also Morris Barbanell, who for me did so much for spiritualism, but was the finest trance medium with Silver Birch. So all of those, I can't pick one above any other, and it would be unfair to do so. So if you want to hear why they are all the people who most inspire me, but also more importantly, what we can learn from them and bring to our own mediumship, what the qualities they possessed that made them fabulous, amazing, great mediums, and how we can learn from that and bring that into our own development, then that's where my class, Great Mediums of the Past, comes in. So that's what I talk about. But each medium I talk about for about it's a 2-hour class, and maybe talk about them for an hour and a half, and then talk about the qualities they had that made them special and why at the end. And then I've got the one, after talking about 5, I've got the one class at the end where we go into what can we learn from them and bring to our modern day development and bring to our own personal development. So yeah, so that I can't choose one, I'm afraid. It wouldn't be fair to the others. Now on the wall over here, you can't see it, but I'll maybe take a photograph and stick it on my page one day, but there's 4 of them there, and Gordon's there. So they're all in the room now with me as well. So they are here, trust me. Bobby, you're Sitting in the Power MP3s are my favourite. I appreciate them greatly. That's wonderful. For those who don't know, there's a short Sitting in the Power on YouTube. It allows you to sit in the power for a few minutes of your own power and the power of spirit. If you're interested in the full version, there is a full one, Sit in the Power, which enables you to sit in your own power for 10 minutes and power the spirit world for as long as you can manage. So you can tailor it to your own needs. And you can also just play part 1 and sit in your own power for as long as you want as well. So it's designed to be flexible. But I'm glad you enjoy them. That is wonderful. Okay. So Sam, I can see you've got a number of comments in there. That's great. You must understand that in talking about psychic detection, missing persons cases, I'm talking to the average medium. Some people, as I say, if you've got more experience doing it, that is great as well. But for a lot of people, a lot of people starting out think, oh, I know, I'll just try and link with missing people, and I'll just start putting all sorts of stuff on the internet and in the public domain. And anything you post on Facebook, remember, is public domain. Be very careful with it. And yeah. And generally, you should never advertise you do it. You should never talk about the cases. If you want to build a relationship with the authorities, to build their trust, generally, you keep it all out of public domain. Absolutely. Carol Varno, thank you for being a trusted medium and guide. You're more than welcome. And if you do work with psychic detection, what I would say as well is do it. You must be disciplined and set a time for doing it as well. I'm not a fan of people saying that need to be open all the time. It doesn't make sense to me. I've never understood that logic, but that's me. Angie, I love your honesty, Martin. Yeah, I try to be honest. I try to present it as I see it. Remember, all you're getting is my opinion. All you're getting is my understanding through 20 years of development and working as a medium for over 18 years. And also through all my teaching and study. But I do like to try and present it in a down-to-earth way. I do try to present it without any of the fluff or pink stuff, glitter, bunnies, none of that. And, you know, so I do my best, but I know that sometimes when I say things, there's probably a whole bunch of people scream at their screen and go, you're wrong, it's rubbish. And that's fine. We're all entitled to our opinions. If what I say resonates with you, fabulous, go with it. If what I say does not resonate with you, that's okay too. That is okay as well. I do not mind. So if anyone's joined us on the live stream, put your question in the chat box. If you would like to get it answered immediately, you can do a super chat. Super chat is enabled. That's a little $sign at the bottom. Any questions asked through super chat, I will get onto them straight away. Any questions asked sequentially, we just work down the list. If you are enjoying this so far, do hit the like button, and also leave comments on my videos as well. That helps the YouTube algorithm as well. Also, if you would like to support me doing this, you can make a PayPal donation through my link, PayPal Me, and the link is pinned at the top of the chat box. It's also in the description of the video as well. You'll find it there, and you can also make a donation through Super Chat if you would like as well to buy me a coffee. All donations are gratefully received, but it's not why I do it. I do this because I know that there's a need to help people. Okay, next question. Where are we? What is it when you see a living person in front of you like you see spirit standing in front of you? Well, basically, you're not really seeing them. I would say it's a projection of your mind. Is it real? I would say it's not. No, because it cannot be. If that person is not there, they cannot project themselves to be there. Now, okay, those of you who are familiar with teachings of people like Paramahansa Yogananda and the Eastern traditions will know that certain of the highly developed yogi could actually project themselves to be seen by people. But I don't believe they were really there. It's a projection into the mind of the individual. So for me, it's something your mind has created. Is it real? Probably not. That's what I would say. It doesn't make sense. You know, we know that in the spirit world, people can draw close and come forth from the spirit world, but people living cannot easily bilocate. It's not possible easily unless they're highly developed and skilled in doing that. And I don't think many people are, to be quite frank. So what do I call it? I would call it a creation of the mind. Some people may call it hallucination, but yeah. But maybe you're psychically tuning into them and your mind is then building them up in front of you. They're not really there. Generally, they're not there. That's important to recognize. Unless somebody is highly skilled, as I say, in like a yogi or something. There we go. What would you say to your students who are very self-conscious and hard on themselves? I would say they need to relax and just enjoy the journey. You know, it's good to have high standards. Absolutely. But don't be too hard on yourself. Accept that we're human. Accept that we're going to make mistakes. Accept that this is a long journey. You know, only way you learn is through practice, through doing, through making mistakes, through not getting it right. And like any skill, it takes time to learn it well. Self-consciousness will go over time. Generally, for most people, that will just fall away as we work. I was an incredibly shy person. I was that person at school who ever refused to go on stage, who ever refused to be center of attention. I didn't want that. I was incredibly shy. And now look at me. It's, but when we start working in the power of spirit and working for spirit and doing this work, the work is so much more important than little old me or my nerves or my insecurities. So all of that's got to go. And naturally, I find it happens anyway. It starts to fall away naturally. So yeah, just go with the process. Stay with it and don't allow it to get in the way. That's what I'd say. You explain things in such an understanding way. I do try. Julia, when did you first realize you had this gift? So we can differentiate between when do we realize that we have something, some kind of ability that can be psychic ability, versus when do we know we can communicate with spirit. So for me, I've always been very good at reading people from a very young age. I could feel if people were being genuine or not. And that's psychic. That's just intuition. Feeling into people's energy, feeling into the energy of rooms, the energy of places, all of that's intuition. I got glimpses of things that, for example, I sensed when one of my grandmothers passed, and I rang home. Has something happened to grandma? Yes, she's passed. Now, she didn't draw close to me. I just sensed something was wrong. I need to ring home. Something's not right. That's an intuition, of course. But not mediumship. Not mediumship. It wasn't until I actually began to start in circle and classes and make my links and begin making links that I realized, I've just linked to the spirit world. It wasn't until I actually started formal development that I realized I had an ability to link with spirit and do mediumship. And for me, it unfolded very rapidly from that point forward. So it became clear that the ability was there near surface to develop. I will talk in one of my future videos on YouTube coming up. I have already recorded it. It just needs editing and putting out, and there's a couple more coming before it. But it's all about, how do you know if you're a medium? How do you know if you can be a medium? And I talk through what I call natural ability, and I talk through what I call innate ability, buried ability, which we have to unfold out. So when I didn't have a natural ability to do mediumship, it had to be unfolded, but it unfolded rapidly. That's the important part. Veronica, I was taught to raise my vibration and to them lower theirs. So this is wrong. When we're linking with spirit, doing mental mediumship, doing evidential mediumship, they don't lower their vibration at all. There's no need. But when you're doing work with guides and helpers, inspirational work, healing, they lower their vibration to meet us somewhere in the middle. So if you like, let me see if I can do you another diagram. So I'm hoping this is going to make sense to you. We'll see. We'll see if you can understand it. So I've got a little diagram here. The green line at the top is the spirit world. The black line at the bottom is the earth plane. The red line shows mediumship, evidential mediumship, and what that means is we have to move to the spirit world completely. The next one along is inspiration. The guides move more towards us and we move up towards them. Similarly with healing, we kind of meet each other halfway. And in the trance condition, the guides are doing most of the work to train themselves to come close to the earth. That's what we need to understand. So with trance, they really do all the work. So with evidential mediumship, no. Spirit don't need to come to our level whatsoever. We have to go to theirs. And mediumship generally doesn't work well because we don't get linked in with spirit properly. So yeah, and again, whoever teaches you what they've taught you then, that you're raising your vibration and they're lowering theirs and we're meeting somewhere in the middle, that applies to those states like inspirational working. It applies to things like doing healing and the altered states work. But it does not apply to evidential mediumship. In my knowledge, in my experience, in my structured teaching of mediumship. Other people may disagree with me, and then that's fine. But in the way I teach it, so one thing you've got to be careful with is going to a tutor and saying, Martin Twycross says you're wrong. I know a few students who've done that, and generally that tutor doesn't like me anymore. But not understanding that, I'm not saying they're wrong, I'm just saying that the model they've built is not my model. The model they built does not reflect the teachings I had over 30 courses at the Arthur Findlay College as well. The teachings I had with many, many mediums outside of the Arthur Findlay College over many years. And what I always looked for was the highest quality teacher I could find. And that's where I try to get my knowledge from. Whoever they were, wherever they taught, I wanted to seek them out in my development. And some people said to me, why did you go with so many teachers? And it's because we can learn something from all of them. And I believe that whichever teacher you're with, there's something you can learn from them. And, you know, don't tell them they're wrong. Don't tell them that I said they're wrong for sure, because that's not going to make me popular. But just understand that if you subscribe to what I say and it makes sense and resonates with you, that's fine. Let go of what they say. You don't have to go with it. So hopefully that makes sense. And it's absolutely true. There's not just one way of doing things. There's as many ways as there are people. And there's as many ways of making sense of mediumship as there are people. I give you the structure and approach that I have created from my own experience, knowledge, teaching. I've got a background in physics, background in environmental science. I'm very scientific, structured, methodical, logical. I have to understand the nuts and bolts. And that's what I put my understanding on, and then that's what I teach. Everyone I've taught so far, no one's ever come back to me and said, your system does not work for me. Practically everyone's come back to me and they say, once you explained it all, everything fell into place. Once you explained it all, it made doing mediumship so much more easily. Now that's great. That's what we want, isn't it? So I always found that, yeah, this person's teaching didn't agree with that person's teaching, didn't agree with that one. And they're all different, absolutely. We can take what resonates with us and leave the rest. That's what I go for. Sheila, I notice in platform dems, the same loved one or family group will link with one medium, then will link again with the second medium during one demonstration. Generally, it's unusual for the same loved one to link to two different mediums in a demonstration. Very unusual. Because think about it. Spirit want to connect with their loved one. So they come forward to connect. And once they've connected with their loved one, they go. Unless the first medium doesn't do it right. In which case they'll hang around and try and get it through the second medium. Generally, you do not make yourself popular if you're doing a demonstration of mediumship and there's several mediums working. Say if I was working at the Arthur Findlay College and there's 3 or 4 mediums on platform working and you get the same link as the first medium, you won't be popular because that's not good. And what actually happens is if you all open up at the same time at the beginning of the demonstration and you become aware of that person who wants to communicate, you may all link into them. And that's what may have happened. And you may be holding that link and waiting to work with it. But no, they're actually working with them right now. You can let it go. Okay. And so if you were to hold that link and work with them, they'll still work with several mediums if they like. You know, they're not fussed. So it doesn't make sense that spirit would want to sequentially just keep working. It's actually the medium who's generally created that by linking in too early and holding the link. Second point, family groups coming from one medium to another, or even family groups coming through one medium. So sometimes I make a link, give somebody their loved one, it's their grandma. My very next link, I get a man. Giving it all, it's the only person who can take it is this person. Who is it? It's this lady's husband. It's like, okay, they came together. They were a unit. It's man and wife and they've come together and one didn't be left out with the other one. And I'm just thinking I'm working with one person, one at a time, and then we get a new one. But we don't. Spirit will do what they want to do. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if there's a real need, a lot of people will come through for one person in the audience. One of my very first demonstrations by myself midweek, long demonstration lasting for over an hour. So in the UK, we have Sunday services. Sunday services, generally, it's got an address and then a demonstration of mediumship. Demonstration of mediumship's under an hour typically. But then on a midweek service, generally there's no address, talk. Normally it's just a demonstration of mediumship. First one of those I ever did by myself. I went to the same person with six different people, 6 different links, all to the same person. And it was like, I was new to it. It was my very first booking by myself midweek. And the chairperson was saying, you can't go there, you got to move. And I was saying to Spirit, we've got to move. This is ridiculous. You're making me look like an idiot. You're making me look stupid in front of this audience and this church. And then we didn't move. And finally, this person got out and left. And I did move after that point. But I met her some time later and she said to me, that night in that church, I was at rock bottom. You brought through all the people who mattered to me from Spirit. And you brought through the most wonderful, uplifting messages to me. And, you know, you turned me around. You stopped me doing something I was thinking of doing because I didn't want to be here. And it's like, wow. So Spirit knew what's going on with that person. They pull out all the stops. And whatever I want, poor little Martin, no, I just want one communicator for that person, one communicator for that person, one communicator for somebody else. No, whatever I want, out the window. And they'll give what they want. So remember that sometimes when it happens, there's a real need. That's the point of that story is when it happens, there's sometimes a real need with that person. We don't know what's going on with them. Don't be too upset if someone in the audience gets 2 or even 3 messages. Just go with it. That's what matters. So yes, that's why it happens. So if somebody wants to know, has their parent died? Again, that is incredibly hard to do. Effectively, it's a form of psychic detection. You come to see me and you want me to connect with your parent, and are they in the spirit world or not? I can connect with you, with your memories of your parent, and I could be made to feel that it's a spirit link when it's not. So I would just have to say I cannot honestly tell you for definite that they are or they're not, because I know that there is this risk. I know that. Because I know there is that risk, I've got to be honest and say I can get information, but I can't guarantee where it's coming from. I have linked with living people before, and I have a video called Can a Medium Link with the Living? And I go through the different scenarios in which case it is possible. In very, very rare instances, I believe it is possible. But generally it's not, but I can link with somebody, and because all of that's in their mind and that's their need, it's on the surface and we get it. And it's like, are they really in spirit? Remember what I said earlier on about me testing myself as doing psychic detection and me finding that a lot of it was wrong. When it's wrong, I've got to question, where's it come from? It comes from my own mind. It comes from my own unconscious desires to help, but it's wrong. So if it's wrong, then what I have to say is I've got to accept I can be wrong. And then I cannot guarantee to that person that their loved one is in spirit, even if I get what sounds like them. They'd have to get information over time. Best thing to do is not to go looking and asking the question. And if their loved one comes through in a service, or comes through in a demonstration, or comes through in a sitting without them even asking, that would be better. If you ask the medium, you trigger the mind of the medium. If you ask the medium, you can create it from the mind of the medium as well. So you have to be careful. Hopefully that all makes sense. So Sheila, thank you very much for your super chat donation. That is very gratefully received. Very kind of you. I shall buy myself a coffee with that. If anyone would like to make a super chat donation, you may do that by either using the little $ at the bottom of the chat box, or if you'd like to make a donation, buy me a coffee through PayPal Me, you may do that as well. There is a PayPal Me link at the top and also in the description at the bottom somewhere. Okay, where did we get to? So Sav, I'm glad you came across me today. That is wonderful. And so we've got a number of £60 seems to be about $82. For those interested in my teaching course, all my teaching courses for that matter, because they all cost £60. Let me just quickly pull them up on screen while I'm talking about them, because that would be wise, wouldn't it? So we have all of those past courses. They're still available. They're all £60. And we have the current Better Platform Mediumship course, and that is £60 too. And £60 is $82, which a lot of people tell me is incredibly good value. So if you think so too, by all means, please avail yourself of them. Now, what have I managed to do? I'm just clicking on something that's gone wrong. Okay, sort it out. Good, good, good. So Mark, is there a course for the Rainbow Journey, or is that a standalone meditation? So Rainbow Journey is a meditation for you to explore your own personal meanings of colour. Now, I do have a video called Working with Colour, which is one of the special topic series called Working with Colour. And in that one, I explain a lot about colour, and I explain the two schools of thoughts that colours have fixed meanings and colours have personal meanings. You have to find your own meaning for colours just as you find your own meaning for symbols. That's my belief, my approach. I don't believe in fixed static meanings for colours. And what a colour means is really dependent upon how, in what way we receive it, in what aspect it applies. So for me, to explore colour is quite a powerful tool. So if you're interested in working with colour, check out my video, Working with Colour, and the meditation that goes alongside that video is a rainbow journey. And what happens in the rainbow journey is you get to go and experience all of these colors, and you get to see how these colors affect you, and you get to meditate you actually meditate within your meditation, within a room of that color, to understand what it brings out for you. So there you go. It's quite a powerful meditation, and it helps you to get your own personal meanings for color. If that sounds of interest to you, check it out. But there is no course for it other than a single video. Single videos, they cost £12 each. So if you're interested, you can get the video for £12 on working with color, and then you can buy this rainbow journey for £11, and you've got all the information I have on color, pretty much. Bobby, I love great mediums of the past. I learned so much. I'm so pleased. Do you know, for me, that was absolutely my tribute. Me doffing my cap to those fabulous mediums, to honor their stories, to honor the service they give, to honor the standards they created that we should aspire to today. Interesting that today's evidential mediumship is not of that caliber anymore. And I talk about that in one of my talks on the channel, Mediumship Past, Present, Future. If that interests you, check it out. If you'd like to see a full-length talk where I touch upon that as well, my reasons for why I believe it to be the case. But yeah, I highly recommend that course. I can't pronounce your name. How do we know the meaning of what we see? When I meditate, I always see purple or green colors. I don't know if that's my spirit guides or not. Thank you. When you're meditating, you get a lot of visuals within your mind. It doesn't mean anything. Now, the problem you've got is when you're meditating, that is not a time that you're working. When you're working, doing mediumship, you're working with the sitter, then that is a time we're getting information we can make sense of. When we're doing psychic work, again, that is a time we're getting information we can make sense of. What's happened when we see visuals within a meditation or colors within a meditation is it's just how the energy of the meditation at that moment in time is affecting us. I also find as well that the light outside, depending on the brightness of the light, creates different colors behind my eyelids. And it's got nothing to do with spirit. If it's very bright, I get a lot of yellows or oranges or reds. And if it's not bright, I get a lot of darker colors, maybe like a dark green or a purple. And it's got nothing whatsoever to do really with the spirit world. It's just, if you like, when I close my eyes, it's the natural colors I see behind my eyelids. So some colors mean absolutely nothing. It's just the way it is. Other times it's just how the energy affects you, but there is no real meaning to it. Now, I don't get carried away like some people do is, oh, what are you seeing in your meditation? And this means that, and this means the other. And for me, it's just fluff. It really is. You know, it doesn't matter what you get in your meditation. You know, oh, I did a meditation. I saw a key. What does it mean? Oh, you're going to be unlocking a new door on your journey. You're going to be unlocking a box, part of your toolbox. It's part of your way forward. That's just fluff. You know, yeah, we see things in our mind all the time. I don't, it's like dream interpretation. I don't subscribe to that very easily neither. Your mind just creates a lot of random stuff. And so it's the same with meditations, I'm afraid. So I don't get overly carried away. So my apologies about that. Is it your spirit guides? No. How do we experience our spirit guides? We experience them when they draw close. We feel an energy when they draw close. We sense them. We sense their presence. So yeah, I don't necessarily think they give us a color. They could, I suppose, but it's wouldn't be their preferential viewpoint, I don't think. So hopefully that helps. So Julia, do you hold a circle over Zoom at all? Obviously for a charge. The answer is I don't actually, no. I'm afraid. And I'll tell you for why. If I do a circle, you're going to be limited to a number of people in the room. Generally, maybe, I don't know, 16 tops, 12 would probably be better, to be honest. And only 12 people gain the benefit of the teaching. And for me, I would rather make my teachings more accessible to a much wider audience. And I used to do practice circles in Zoom. I used to do practice circles in many different methods as well, in person as well. But at the moment, I'm trying to do a lot of things. I'm trying to run these courses. I do my channel, YouTube channel, and I'm trying to get my first book written. And because of that, if I was to teach as well, it would take up a lot of time. So I just personally don't do that at this moment in time. Maybe in the future I may. If I ever do, to be honest, the people I would accept is people who know my teachings in detail and people who are quite some way down that journey. I find that I haven't got the patience to cope with people who are at the very beginning of their journey, to be frank. I like to work with people who've unfolded their mediumship so that they can at least get evidence and get it to a starting point of a standard. If you're a total beginner, I don't do total beginner circles. I used to do a total beginner circle in my home church, and my wife now runs it because I was just too impatient. And also I used to work them so hard they used to complain. I guess I didn't really start as a beginner. It just unfolded so rapidly for me. I don't understand where beginners come in because that wasn't really part of my own experience, you see. So I'm not brilliant with beginners. And I like to make sure people get their money's worth and I work people hard. And because of that, it doesn't always make me popular. Okay, Carol. Does environment play a factor in mediumship development? For example, if one is lives in a negative energy environment, how does this affect development? It will, in so much as we allow it to. It will, in so much as it affects us. If anything that causes us stress will affect our mediumship. If our health affects our mediumship, our mental health affects our mediumship, stress affects our mediumship. So all of that plays a part. If somebody doesn't like you doing mediumship and they're forever telling you should not be doing it or that mediumship is evil, if they've got very strong religious beliefs and they tell you shouldn't be doing it, it's wrong. It does put a lot of pressure, stress on you, and it does affect you, and it will affect your abilities. Absolutely. So it affects it. How much it affects it is person dependent. Some people, it can be water off a duck's back and they can just ignore it whatsoever. And for other people, it can really be a very heavy weight upon them and bring them down. So we're all different. And, hot and cold affect things. Noise affects things. I work in churches, and if the church's heating's bust and doesn't work, or in a centre there's no heating and it really is freezing cold, I struggle. If it gets beyond a certain temperature and heat, I struggle to work. There's like a range I can work within. If it's below 10 degrees C, I'm not happy. If it's above 30 odd degrees C, I'm not happy. In between, we can work it. Similarly with noise. I had to work once when an alarm was going off, a burglar alarm, and that building was going off, and I had to literally shout to do my mediumship. Now that's hard work. I managed it, but hey, I know that kind of thing it's going to be impossible to work through. Some degree of background noise can affect people as well. So these are all environmental factors which play their part. But energy, of course, we are sensitive. The more we develop ourselves sensitivity and develop ourselves sensitively, the more energies affect us. Absolutely. So it becomes a challenge. Things like drinking alcohol, the more you develop, the harder it gets to drink because it affects you so strongly. I used to be able to drink quite a lot, and now I can't. And now I find that just a couple of glasses of wine, I can get a hangover the next day. It's bad. You find a lot of mediums, the more they develop, they have to back off things like that. But yes, environment effects. I've gone off topic. Is that a painting of the Arthur Findlay College on the wall behind me? It absolutely is. You can't really see it, but it is there. I don't know if I was to quickly switch to a different view. You can see more of it in that view. There you go. So you can it's a painting drawn by Alan Stuttle of the Arthur Findlay College. Okay, back to our normal view. So Rebecca, may I ask you if the following is null? When I connect to spirit psychically, not talking about mediumship, but it feels like home. So we can't psychically connect to the spirit world. So that's important to recognize. Psychic means that we're connecting with the energies of the earth. So energy of a person, energy of an environment. So what you're talking about is you're moving to blend with the spirit world. And so you're blending with the spirit world, but it's not psychic. It's actually a form of connection to the spirit world. It's not mediumship as such, but it's a connection to spirit. And it feeling like home, that's not unusual at all. Some people find they love it so much being blended with spirit that they want to spend all their time there. I know some people who do sit in the power several times a day because they love the energy of spirit. I say you don't need to do that. Once a day is enough. You don't need to do more than an hour. Absolutely hour tops. Again, check out my Sitting in the Power playlist for more information on how long you should sit for. But that's not unusual. When I reconnect to the energy of the physical, I feel sad and almost have this feeling of not belonging. Is there something that you've experienced at all? Now, some of us, I believe, are what I would call, some people would call old souls. What we may have developed ourselves spiritually. We may be more evolved than other souls here spiritually. And for some of us, it feels natural, the spirit world. And this world feels very harsh, and it has a bit of a jarring energy for us. And if you ever go on a course where something like the Arthur Findlay College and you're totally, utterly cocooned away from the real world for a week, you're just doing mediumship the whole time, you're with spiritual people, and then you come out and it's like, whoa, the energy of the real world is just so intense. Yes, I get that. I see that. And it's like, whoa. And it's like you've been immune to news stories. You've not heard the news once. And you turn the news on and all the bad things in the world are happening, the politics that's happening, all the problems in the world. And it's like, whoa. It's like overwhelming. So it's a similar sort of thing. The more that we develop, the more that can happen as well. But yeah, we remember, we have to live in the real world. We have to live in the physical world. If you only spend your time doing spiritual things, meditating, being among spiritual people, what happens is you become no earthly use to anybody. You're here upon the earth because we have to interact with people on the earth. If we work as a medium, we have to do mediumship for other people here upon the earth. If we're a healer, we've got to give healing to other people here upon the earth. Whatever we're doing, it has to be directed at people here. We have to work with people here. If we don't, we somewhat miss the plot. We somehow, you're not doing the right thing. So we have to live upon the earth and interact with people upon the earth. If we don't, we're no earthly use to anybody. Important to recognize. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. And I know for some people it can be addictive. Some people talk about as spiritual bypassing, that we spend all our time doing spiritual stuff to avoid real world problems. When we're blended with the spirit world in meditation, all of our problems dissolve. All of our stresses dissolve. As soon as we come out again, all our problems return, our thoughts return, our stresses rise again. And yes, I get that I want to be in that state where there's no stress in my life. But no, you've got to live your life and you've got to deal with the stresses. But you've got a mechanism you can use to dissociate and unplug from them every now and again. But we have to get back into it again. We can't spend all our time moved away from it. I think it's important to recognize that. But yeah, I do understand that. Absolutely. Ash, I've woken up feeling electrified and then see pixelated light starts to form a spirit. Have you heard of this before? The electrifying feels is kind of overwhelming at the time. No, the simple answer is no, I haven't. I haven't experienced that. I can't really explain it. Now, the thing is, nobody can deny you your experience. That's the important thing to say. I'm never one of these people who says to people, that couldn't possibly happen. You're deluded. There's no way that happened. I'm not one of those people who believes that, who says that. I believe that we can all get a huge range of experiences. How you tell me your experience may not be the reality of how the experience really is. I understand that as well. We make sense of our experiences through the knowledge we've gained at that point in time. I see that as well. So your experience is your experience and no one can deny it. But sometimes, I cannot interpret all people's experiences unless I'm there, unless I understand it. It's impossible to interpret it. Can spirit appear to us when we're coming out of sleep? Yes, they could. Mediumship works in that altered state. Absolutely. Remember that. So generally you experience the spirit world in an altered state. When we see something with our eyes, is it truly real or is it a projection into the room? It can be either. But it's very hard to say it truly is physically in the room with us. That's, it's very hard. Unless you went over something and poked it and your finger went through it. At that point, it's like, okay, I thought that was real. In his book, Gordon Higginson talks about meeting a monk and believing that monk was real. And he had a conversation with him and he went and fetched somebody else to talk to him as well. And when he got back, the monk had gone, disappeared, apparated into thin air. And he said that had to be spirit, come to talk to me in physical form. But at no point did he ever realize it was spirit. He never realized when the person disappeared and the room was being watched and they couldn't have got out of it. So there you go. So if things feel overwhelming and it's from the spirit world, we can ask spirit to, if you like, turn the dial down, push it away, make it less overwhelming to us. But if it's not from spirit, we can't do that. So the question you have to ask is it from spirit or is it from ourselves? And there's no easy answers with all of this. And I find questions like that, they're very hard to answer. If somebody else has had the experience, then it validates your experience, but there are as many experiences as there are people. I could tell you some weird experiences I've had, and most people would just sit there scratching their heads and say, that's weird. And that's the way it is. But at the time, to me, it was real, as it is to you. But I cannot really give you an explanation of it. Yeah. Not easy. Julia, you cannot wait for the book. Neither can I. Just need to get it written. Okay, Ghost, what advice would you give to the extra curious mind and it gets in the way by getting too far ahead of the evidence being given? How do you slow down the evidence being received? First of all, when doing mediumship, we need to move our mind out of the equation, get our mind out of the mix, because our own mind will interfere, and if it interferes, it will create problems for us. The way we keep our mind out of it is we learn to do it through sitting in the power. Sitting in the power is the tool we use for disciplining and controlling our own thoughts, our own mind, and moving that out the way. Now, I'm not sure quite what you mean here about how our mind can get in the way by getting too far ahead of the evidence being given. I think what you're meaning there is we're trying to extrapolate the evidence. We're trying, maybe, this is coming in, this is coming in, so, oh, it must be in that. Now that is a mechanism of our mind getting in the way. We just need to stop that. No, we just give what we get. This is coming in, and we don't try and second guess it. Now, okay, say I've had that happen every time, and this comes in, and I know that means it's a stroke because I've had stroke that happen, and it becomes a stroke at the end 10 times. Then what I would say is, the person generally, when I start this is happening, it means a stroke. Did the person pass with a stroke? No. Okay, well, it could be something else then, but something similar. Yeah, so that's it. So, how do you slow down the evidence being received? The evidence comes in at the speed it comes in. Generally, the more experience we get, the evidence speeds up. But you can go back over it. Even if you're not quite sure of it, you can just push back into it. Ask them again, can you give me that again? And just push back into it. Go back into it in a different way. See if you can feel into it. What does it mean? But that's not your own mind trying to be curious. That's just, I'm not sure what that means. Let me try again. Let me push into it again and see what this means. It's like we psychically probe it to understand it. I think that's what I'm trying to say. But learn to manage your mind. Learn to not let your mind rush in with things. We have to suspend our imagination. We have to stop trying to extrapolate. We've got to not assume. If you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. Yeah, so all of that. Just got to try and keep our mind at bay. But it's hard. It's hard. Absolutely. So, Madeleine, is it difficult for a medium when you have a difficult time yourself? Again, I think that kind of relates to what I was talking about earlier. Clarify it for me if I'm wrong, but do you mean like difficult time, whether it's difficult time in our lives, loss of a loved one, problems in a relationship, home environment, job, health, all those things? All of that absolutely does affect mediumship. At certain times we have to look after our own mental health. Certain times we have to respect what's going on in our lives. It may not be a good time to do mediumship. For example, if I lost a loved one very close to me, I would probably for a while take a break from mediumship. If I know people who've gone through real challenges, and again they pull back a little bit to get their energies back and get themselves in the right frame of mind to work. So that is absolutely important as well. We need to do that. So yeah, it is absolutely. If you're having a difficult time ourselves, it will reflect in our mediumship. But it's hard because we cannot remove all the problems of life. So we have to get on with life, don't we? And we've got to strike that balance. But if we see in our work that problems are beginning to manifest from external sources, then it's wise to take a step back, to pull away, to see if you can help sort things out in the interim, to get that sorted out. I hope that makes sense. So if you are enjoying the video, don't forget, hit the like button. If you like my teachings as well, do subscribe to the channel as well. I release about 3 videos a month at the moment. And we've got some really fascinating ones coming up. How to develop, can you develop mediumship by yourself? Can you develop mediumship online? How do you know you have the potential to be a medium? They're all coming up soon. They're all recorded, they're all in the can, they're all in various stages of the pipeline of editing. So they will be coming through, and I've got quite a number of other bits and pieces as well that I'll be releasing as well in due course over the coming days, weeks and months. Rebecca, can I ask you about your course Sitting in the Power? So the course is to Sitting in the Power. I have MP3 download, Sitting in the Power. That is basically just the meditation, but there is a course as well, and the course is called Meditation and Sitting for Spirit. That is 4 2-hour sessions, and we go into the practice of meditation. Then we do a deep dive into sitting in the power. Then we also look at how we can use sitting for spirit to do different things. And then we look at meditation for developing ourselves spiritually, which I believe is a fundamental core of meditation. So it covers Sit in the Power in great detail, has 2 versions of Sit in the Power, the standard one, and another one I created for the course, which is, I will release that one day as well. That's a project to sort out as well on my back burner that needs sorting out, to release that as an independent MP3 download as well. Just need to record some intro to it and script all that out and sort it all out and re-record it professionally without any noises from the class. So that will definitely be out there one day. So with the course, you get 4 2-hour classes and you get 4 full meditations as well. So for £60, which we worked out was about $85 US, it's very good value for money. So if you're interested in that, go for it. And when you're doing Sitting in the Power, absolutely, it's safe to do by yourself. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to manifest. No, absolutely. Check out my video on Do Mediums Need Protection as well. I've been working as a medium, teaching. I've been in development myself for 20 years. I've been working as a medium for 18 years. Nothing bad has ever happened to me. And I've not seen anything objectively. I've not seen spirit objectively yet. They've never scared me that way, and they won't. Yeah, they know us. They're not going to do that to us. They're kind. So yeah, if that's your fear, they won't do it. So yeah. Franny, I'm buying your book when it comes out. That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. There won't be just one, by the way. There is a series. There is a whole series of books. I think that at the moment it's going to be about 4. That's 4 in terms of the teaching books, but I think as well with the trance teachings, I'd like to compile some of the trance teachings into books as well, because they are quite profound and helpful for people as well. Ghost, your courses have been the very solid foundation of my development. I'm the medium today because of your fantastic foundation and continued guidance. Thank you. That means a lot. My aim is to give people teachings that can form those building blocks, those foundation stones that you can build on. And as I say, once people have taken a lot of my courses, they tell me that, it all falls into place. I can make sense of it. I was doing classes and I was going to circles and I was struggling. And now I see how it's all meant to be. It makes it so much easier. And that is my aim. Absolutely. So that's a very kind, it's almost like a wonderful testimonial, isn't it? Thank you. So are there any more questions? I've had that on the screen for far too long. I forgot that was on the screen. You must tell me if I leave on the screen for way too long. There you go. So yeah, if you enjoy my teachings, do subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, do hit the like button. If you're watching this on the replay, do leave me a comment as well. If you have questions, you can bring them along to the next one as well. Some people want to ask questions in the comments of the videos, but to be fair to everybody, I do say to people to come along in person and ask your questions, because if I took all the questions in advance, there'd be no time for the questions that those attending can ask. So that's generally what I ask as well, to be fair to those who come along to it. So we've been going for an hour and a half. In the absence of more questions, I'm going to bring it to a close. So remember, if you have enjoyed it, you can, if you would like to tip me, you can use the PayPal me link. That's in the description below as well. That is, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, that is always much appreciated. But do check out my courses, study program, videos, audios in my store, on my website. And yeah, check them out. And if you fancy doing the latest course, which, as I said, is Better Platform Mediumship, that is available to buy. It starts on the 21st of November and it will run for 4 It's 4 Sundays on a month. If you cannot attend it in person, you can still sign up and you get the replays. I send everyone out a replay. You can download it, watch it as well. Watch the replay. If you don't want to download it, you can still watch it. And they are yours for life. I know some people give you a window of opportunity to rewatch it. I don't do that. I feel if you're buying it, it's yours for life. So if that sounds of interest, do check it out on my website and on my store. So I'm going to thank you all for coming. I do appreciate it. It's been a great class, some great questions, well done. And as I say, do subscribe to the channel, do hit the like button, and I look forward to seeing you all again in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.